Hey guys, it's RJG here, and today we're going to be covering the IDW series. What we're covering today is Sonic the Hedgehog Free Comic Book Day 2021, Tails' 30th anniversary. Without further ado, let's get right into it, guys.
Is this who you were watching?
2021 Free Comic Book Day, Sonic the Hedgehog 30th anniversary. Tails walks to Amy's house and waves to her car, the Breeze. Amy's busy setting the table, preparing for Tails' arrival. Soon, she hears a knock at the door and allows the Fox Cub to come in. Tails explains that Sonic was out doing his solo thing. He was getting lonely by himself. Amy knows that she knows the feeling. Looking at all the snacks that Amy prepared, Tails happily tells her that she didn't have to do all this, but she does not mind. The young hedgehog then asks what Sonic was up to this time, with Tails replying that he was just patrolling around. According to him, Sonic gets a little stir-crazy if he stands still for a short while. Amy jokes that it must have caused a few problems, and Tails confirms that. The Fox Cub talks about one time where they were looking for Dr. Eggman's secret base, and decided to wait for the bandits to show up so they could see where they went. This meant staying quiet and standing still. However, as soon as Sonic saw the robots, he ran out from behind the bushes to destroy the bandits with a spin dash. Tails falters in continuing his story once he sees Amy writing something down. The Fox Cub teasingly asks if she was taking notes on Sonic, or even secretly working for Eggman. Amy denies this but struggles to give a reason. She asks Tails to not make fun of her and leads him to her desk. There she presents a large book to him. Inside he finds fan comics that Amy has made of herself and the others, including Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Bean, Fang, and Metal Sonic. Tails asks Amy if anyone has seen them, to which she shyly replies no, believing they are not very good. He tells her to wait for a second before going outside. There he finds Marty and Ray and shows them a comic strip of Marty trying to lightly squeeze a cheeseburger, only to completely crush it instead, causing the contents to spill onto his face. Despite Amy's nervousness, the duo are amused by her work and continue reading more scripts. Elsewhere, Sonic notices the commotion and runs over to see what is happening. He finds many people, including some of his friends, gathering together with pieces of paper, laughing and smiling as they read them. When he asks what's going on, Tails excitedly runs up and hands him Amy's book, wanting him to read it. Amy becomes more anxious than before, although when Sonic reads her comics, he is impressed and commends her for capturing his personality, including the new chili dog stand, as well as recording their adventures in general. He then asks Amy if she knew about the time they encountered Eggman on his birthday. When she answers no, he begins retelling the story to her while she draws it out in her book. Tails' 30th anniversary special. Sonic is standing on top of the wing of the tornado with Tails in the cockpit flying it. He points out to Tails that Flicky Island is straight ahead. Sonic says he's glad to be back to explore the island for their vacation. Sonic jumps off the tornado and Tails takes off his flight goggles. They arrive at Green Grove, where there aren't any Flickies. Sonic looks disappointed that the species that he saved aren't giving him a welcome. Tails speculates that something is wrong. Sonic tells him that they will make it right, and they should look for clues. Before Tails can lay out a plan, Sonic runs off in a puff of smoke. As Sonic runs around Green Grove, Tails investigates the unnatural crystal formations and the rails that have been laid out. Suddenly he realizes what happened and Tails calls out to Sonic. Sonic stops in front of him, and Tails says that the island has been attacked by Witchcart. Sonic looks concerned and asks who that is. As a flashback is shown, Tails explains when Sonic was on his own adventure, he went to explore a remote island. There, Witchcart and her minions attacked the island and tried to conquer it. He says he overcame his fears and chased every minion and Witchcart off the island. Tails points out that the crystals and rail lines are the same things that Witchcart used before. He concludes that she is responsible for the Flicky's disappearance. Sonic understands that there are bad guys that need stopping and runs off before Tails can explain how to find them. Meanwhile, Bear Ranger, Coqueletty, and Hog Wolf are gathering Flickies into a hollow crystal. Bear Ranger complains about Coqueletty not helping, but she lazily says that she is holding the hole to the crystal closed. As Hawky Ruff shoves more Flickies in, Sonic attacks him as Coqueletty looks uninterested. Bear Ranger yells at the others to attack Sonic and runs at the Hedgehog. Sonic jumps into his chin and tells him he shouldn't pick a fight with him. Suddenly, Sonic is entrapped within a crystal. It is revealed that Witchcraft used her wand to trap Sonic in a crystal. She gloats how Sonic was distracted. The Witchcarters welcome and thank her for helping them, with Bear Ranger calling the other two Witchcarters worthless. Witchcart says her patience is wearing thin and demands them to get more Flickies. The Witchcarters rush to their vehicles and fly off as Witchcart attaches Sonic to her cart to take him back to her lair. Sonic shows his annoyance to her rhyming, and he is dragged away. Tails looks on behind a bush, holding back his anger. He sits with his head down and laments how Sonic didn't listen to him, and now he has made a bad situation worse. He raises his head up to see some Flickies around him. Tails wipes away a tear and lets out a big sigh. He stands up and says he beat the witch carts before and he will do it again. He just has to be smart about it. Tails has another flashback when they were on Flicky's island, with Sonic stopping Eggman from capturing the Flickies, and Tails and Knuckles were finding the Chaos Emeralds. In the present time, Tails flies over and pulls the plug on the crystal that was holding back a flock of Flickies. He asks the Flickies to help him navigate the island so he can stop the bad guys and save their friends. In Spring Stadium, Hoggy Wood is chasing and capturing Flickies on his bike with a butterfly net. As he teases that Flicky that he captured, Tails picks him up from behind while flying. Hoggy Ruff remembers Tails and tries to get under his skin. Tails tunes him out, but Hoggy Ruff whistles, causing his bike to fly over and ram Tails. Hoggy Ruff's bike catches him as he falls from Tails' grasp. He pulls out of a mine and flies to Tails with it. In a bit of a panic, Tails calls for the Flickies to start a plan B. Each one sings a different call until a blue Flicky matches what Hoggy Ruff sang. This causes his bike to veer out of control with more Flickies imitating his call. Eventually, Hoggy Ruff is spun out of his bike. Tails thanks the Flickies for their help, but an enraged Hoggy Ruff runs at him with his arms flailing in the air. Tails steps aside and Hoggy Ruff falls into a pit of springs where he bounces around. Tails tells the Flickies that he needs something from Rocky Ruff's for his master plan. He takes out the bike's repulsor and asks one of the Flickies to hold on to it. In Gear Gadget, Bear Ranger orders some Flickies to go into the big bag. Tails then hits Bear Ranger on the head, but it hurts Tails more than Bear Ranger. Bear Ranger complains about Tails giving him a fair fight and landing a cheap shot on him. He then gets onto his bike with a look of rage in his eyes. Tails tries to plead with him to calm down, but Bear Ranger flies directly at Tails and throws grenades at him. Tails falls and nearly hits some moving spikes, but he flies back up at the last moment. He calls for the Flickies to start Plan C, with Bear Ranger hot on his tails. The Flickies get out of the bag and start swarming Bear Ranger. He yells at them to get off of him, and puts his bike at full power, leaving the Flickies in the dust. Tails thanks Bear Ranger for being so predictable, as the witch carter flies directly into some machine piping, landing him in a vat of orange liquid with his bike landing out another tube onto a pile of Batnik scrap parts. Bear Ranger yells at Tails as he takes something out of his bike, but the glass is soundproof. Tails gives 2 parts to the Flickies and looks happy about their progress. In Rusty Ruins, Calculator sings a song ordering the Flickies to get in cages. One blue Flicky tries to fly away, only for Calculator to launch a missile from her bike and hit the bird. She warns the birds to not disobey her as Tails sneaks under the bike. He opens one of the missile launchers from the bike and takes out one of the components. Tails gives it to the Flicky to regroup with the others, who struggles to carry it. Just as the Flicky flies away, Calculator turns her bike over to see Tails, to the fear of the fox. Calculator says that she will not go easy on Tails this time and launches a horde of missiles on him. Tails spins away and disappears into the fog. Calculator begrudgingly switches to manual aim, but she's out of ammo. Annoyed, she searches the area for Tails, a difficult task with shadows of Flickies and the thick fog. She asks Tails to make this easy and come out, but Tails sneaks behind Calculator and pulls some wires on her bike. The bike clangs on the ground, right on the edge of a pit. Calculator keeps her normal expression as she and her bike falls into the pit. She yells and says she is defeated as Tails looks down. Tails regroups with the Flickies and makes use of the parts he has gathered. He attaches the repulsor to his left hand, makes a claw device with the claw and attaches a thruster to it, and puts a missile launcher on his back. Tails confidently says he's ready to save the rest of their friends. In Panic Puppet Fortress, Witchcart is teasing Sonic and overlooking her captured Flickies. She says once she's discovered the Flickies' secrets, nothing will be able to stop her. On cue, Tails reveals himself by calling out to Witchcraft's terrible rhyming. Tails uses the claw device to ride the rails, and says that her art is as bad as her aim. Witchcart chases Tails and demands him to get off her rails as she shoots at him. Tails keeps riding and uses the repulsor to reflect Witchcart's spells. After some fighting, Tails launches the rockets at Witchcart, which she ducks under from. She taunts Tails for missing her, but Tails smugly says that he wasn't aiming for her. The missiles hit the crystal, entrapping Sonic, breaking it and setting him free. Sonic groans about his arm falling asleep and says that this is starting to look like a working vacation. Witchcart shoots more spells at Sonic, but he dodges them and says he is ready for her this time. Witchcart then makes a retreat. Tails makes sure that Sonic is okay and says that they need to get Witchcart before she gets away. Sonic tells him we don't need to do anything. The hero has already arrived. Tails looks at Sonic, then lets out a big smile realizing what he was saying. He looks back onto the rails and asks him to back him up. Sonic gives him a thumbs up and says that he's got this. Tails catches up to Witchcart. He tells her to give it up. Her plan is already foiled and her minions are defeated, and she pleads Tails to let her retreat as she shoots at him. Tails tells her that she has to finish what she started, and it's game over for her. Tails then reflects one of her spells with the repulsor, and then reflects directly back at Witch Cart. Tails then returns to Sonic with a now crystallized trapped Witch Cart. Sonic says that he freed the rest of the Flickies while Tails was fighting Witch Cart, figuring that he had it sorted out. Tails takes the equipment and thanks Sonic for saving the day. Sonic gives Tails a Nuji and says that Tails was the one who beat up the baddies and got him out of the crystal, and this adventure was all his. Sonic runs off with Tails and the Flickies, and remember they came for a vacation and they shall party. And that's pretty much it, guys. Sorry if this video is short, it might be actually about 8 minutes long. If it is, well, that's great. We'll be covering the rest of the classic collection, so just wait until that happens, guys. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.